Hello and welcome back to lesson 2 for week 2, Wednesday the 29th of April 2020, and in this lesson we're continuing on with the reading with the cartoon comic about peer pressure, and we're going to do our own activity today because a lot of people have finished those newspaper article activities in Ed Studio. If you haven't finished them, use the opportunity to do that now, and if you have, we're going to do an activity today. So first of all, our reading lesson. So once again, I direct you to the Epic reading activities on this page in the reading corner. If you haven't logged on to Epic Reading, please do it. There's some great books in there. You can just go and pick whatever books you want, or there's read-alongs or videos or comic strips, and just write it up in the date with what you've read for 20 minutes. You really do need to read for 20 minutes a day to get your skills up. And if you want to, you can pick an activity here. And today's the 29th, and the activity for today is see green and read a book with a green cover. So have a look in Epic Books and see if you can find something that's got a green cover. I bet you do. I went in yesterday and I reassigned some other books, including wrestling books and scooter books and all sorts of things, animal lovers and working dogs. There's so many books on there to read. I was really impressed with it. I'm not just saying that. It is a really great website. Go and have a look at it. Okay, so our reading today is about peer politics. I'm not going to read through that article again. It's a very basic piece of text. So we're just going to go straight into our questions for today. And if you need to, you can go back and have a look. I sent the whole magazines to everyone on Dojo, so you can download that and have it, because each week the text will be based on that magazine. So please head up your page with the date, with your name first of all. It's been really great that everyone's been putting their names in. Makes it very easy for me to mark and put into their folders. So your name at the top, and it is week 2, Wednesday, which is our spelling word, don't forget. So it's great that we're writing it a couple of times today. Wednesday the 29th of April 2020. Don't forget your comma and your full stop after that date. And we're doing reading. And it's the same format as what we did last week, and will be the same format again next week. So Wednesday is all about comprehension tasks. So Monday was a reading strategy, before, during and after. Tuesday is your thinking tasks, which were after Edward de Bono's 7 Hats of Thinking. And today is a comprehension task, where we go under literal, so you can head that up first, then inferential comprehension, and then evaluative comprehension. So the first question is, why do the girls in the comic stop to look at the boy? So in the very first picture, we see that they're hiding around the corner, and they might have been on their way to somewhere, and they've stopped and looked at him with a bit of a shock. So please, please, please give me sentences that have a capital and a full stop. Don't just write me a phrase, which is like a little caught section of a sentence. Give me a proper sentence with a capital and a full stop. So you would write there under literal comprehension. Literal means you can see that that's happening. What is in the picture is actually happening. It's literal. The girls stopped in the picture to look at the boy because. The next question is, why do some of the best rugby players in the world do ballet? And the boy gives an explanation there when he talks about it, and it's in the third caption of it, and it says the best rugby players in the world do ballet too, and I'm not going to read that for you. You can write that in. Read that little bit there and write it in. And question 3 is, what happens in the final cell of the comic? So they call each one of these boxes a cell, and this is the very last cell. And in the last lesson, you drew me another cell with another picture in there. So, but what does this cell tell you? So you would write something like, in the last cell of the comic, it shows, and tell me what it shows. Okay, now you can head up inferential comprehension, and remember, inferential means that the author is not telling us exactly what's going on. He's giving a bit of information about an idea, but enough information for us to infer what is happening. So our first question is, it's the 4th question under inferential comprehension. Don't you know that dancing is only for girls? Why might have the girls in the comic have this opinion? So this is what they said, the direct speech. Why have the girls in the comic, why do they have this opinion? So might it be their upbringing where they've been told that girls play with dolls and they dance and they like pretty things and boys go out and play rugby and are rough and tumble? Is it part of their upbringing? Is it because of the media? The media tells them that. Or is that just because what they thought, because they haven't spent enough time thinking about that? But they certainly changed their minds, didn't they? And the next question 5, what is the turning point of the comic? The point when the girls change their opinion. Use evidence from the text in your answer. So if we have a look at the comic, first of all, they're hiding around the corner having a laugh. Then they're talking to the boy and going, why do you dance for? And here he is dancing away and explaining why he likes dancing. At which point here, you'll have to read it, at which point do they change their minds and go, well, I think that's a good idea. So give me a sentence about that. That the girls changed their opinions after they listened or maybe looked or both. And then evaluative comprehension, where you form your own opinion. Did you like it? Did you think it was good? Did you think it was a bit sad? Okay, so question 6, there's only one question here, and it says, imagine you are the boy in the comic. Explain what you would do if someone challenged you about your love of dancing. And we talked a little bit about this yesterday. There's lots of different responses you could have had. Would you get angry if someone challenged you? Would you be sad and cry? Would you go and ask for an adult for help? Or would you do what the boy did, which was very calmly turn around and say, hey, I like doing what I do. It's a free world. I'm not hurting anyone. And then go about convincing that person to maybe have a try of it as well. Okay, if you could please make sure that you head them up under those headings, which is literal, inferential, and evaluative, and give me 6 really good sentences. That's it for writing today. Okay, now we actually finished our English focus lesson. We've done all the lessons for 2 weeks, which is absolutely fantastic. If you have a look at the English focus front page, we'll talk about that a little bit, and then we're going to move on to an activity that I'm going to give you. The first one just says the 2 ideas that we should take away from this front page is that there's always a target audience for every newspaper article, and there's always a message. So as you're reading something on the news, whether it's in a newspaper or online, you should be thinking, who's this message directed at? So for example, there was a news article not so long ago about how childcare has been made free at the moment, and so to send your kids along because it's safe and the parents don't have to pay because they think that the little kids should be in childcare getting an education and giving the parents a bit of a break. So who is that article directed at, and what's the message of the article? Well, it's directed at parents, especially working parents, and the message of it is we would like your kids to go into childcare to make sure they're getting a bit of an education, that they're socialising and playing with other kids, and to keep those businesses running as well. And we have to be really aware, and this is a very important message that we need to think about, is the bias in news media. When we are reading a news article, is there a clear bias where somebody is trying to convince us of something which may not be all that good? For example, if there is an article that has been, the reporter may be working for an oil company and they're trying to say that, you know, they've come up with a really great petrol that doesn't even harm the environment and give it a go, and well, you know that any petrol that's burnt is going to create some fumes or some pollution, so you have to look at who's written that article. That's not really a green product to say that they've come up with a type of petrol. And the unintentional bias is sometimes when they're writing a news article, they might be trying to convince you that something's really good. They may think that it's really good. The author of the article may not be working for someone, but when you sit down and you really think about it, they meant well, they were trying to inform you, but it was a little bit of a bias leading a certain way. Alright, so today what we're going to do is have a very quick look at this poster that was attached to the lessons, and I think this poster is invaluable because it really explains the structure of a newspaper report really well. And it basically has 4 parts. And yesterday you went in to a text and you wrote the headline where there was a headline on a text, a summary or lead paragraph where it was catching and answering the who, what, when, where and why, and the body gives us lots of details, and then the tail of the story is where it wraps it up. Inverted triangle. So this is really important. We're going to use this today. Headline, summary or lead, let's call it a summary, body and tail. We're going to use that today to have a look at a newspaper article that I've downloaded, and I've sent that to Dojo, so you can download it or have a look at it. And this was actually in yesterday's paper on the ABC, and it was online, and the headline of it is "Yawning Numbat Video Could Help Save One of Australia's Rarest Marsupials." So that, I'm not going to tell you what that is, because your job's going to be, you can either print this out or in your books, just head it up newspaper writing, because we're up to our focus writing now, news report writing, and underline that. And then underneath, I'm not going to tell you, I want you to work it out, and it's not that hard. So you pick the first part of it, what bit is this, and you write that word, and then you write the, all right, I'll say it, the headline next to it, okay? So yawning numbat video, that's the headline that's got us in. Now, because it's an online article, it's got the which ABC person wrote it, which reporter wrote it, and their name, and it's got when it was posted and when it was updated. So 4 hours ago, he posted it and went in and updated it with some new information. And because it is online, you can click it and watch the little video about the numbat. So here we go. There he is coming up. That was a little bit too cute, wasn't it? But the interesting thing is that an online video, an online newspaper report gives us the option to straight away go in and get 35 seconds where we see what a numbat is, where it lives. We got a lot of information from that. Also about that long tongue that came out then, and it's a marsupial. So this image, is that part of the headline, do you think? Would someone who was interested in this and clicked on it, would they have played that video? So I want you to think about that and write for me if you think that that little video is part of this headline. Okay, now as we go down, we're looking for that summary paragraph. Let's have a look. Wildlife photographer Mark Jackman drove at less than 5 kilometres an hour for days, which is very slowly, just to get a few seconds footage of a yawning numbat. And it was all worth it. So this wildlife photographer, Mark Jackman, that's the footage he got. So he snuck around the bush very, very slowly and got that video. So we're very lucky to see that of a numbat. The numbat is less known than the more extroverted quokka, which has become Insta-famous, which we've got a lot of modern speech going on here, instant famous, thanks to selfies with tennis star Roger Federer. Photographers say the numbat's shy nature means it is difficult to get a good picture, especially one where the rare marsupial is unfurling its extraordinarily long tongue hunting for termites. So there we go, we've learnt something. So is this all the summary paragraph, or is it just this? Did this answer the when, the where, the who and the what? I want you to write that in for me. Or did you think we needed a couple more paragraphs here? We'll read this one again just to see if it answers the who, the where, the when and the what. Wildlife photographer Mark Jackman drove at less than 5 kilometres for days just to get a few seconds footage of a yawning numbat, and was it all worth it? So what I want you to do is underneath where you've written your headline and you've written your headline in, I want you to do your lead or summary paragraph, whatever you want to call it, and I want you to work this out by doing this. And that is writing in our 5 W's. So who is this all about? Where is it taking place? When is it? What is it about? Who, what, where, when, how? How did he get it? Well, he drove around very slowly. So did that little sentence there, is that actually our summary or lead paragraph? Did we get enough information from there? But put in those who, what, when, where, hows, okay, and answer that. So we got down to here. But the power of social media means a good photograph can increase awareness of the plight of the endangered numbat. Just before coronavirus travel restrictions, Mr. Jackman, who is from Yallingup, headed up to Boyinging Nature Reserve, about 130 kilometres southeast of Perth, hoping to get the elusive shot. And here we've got some key points to our article as well. So maybe this is all the detail and maybe there was enough information there. And then we come down and there's another photograph of the numbat. He and his partner drove in first gear for hours, eyes peeled for numbats. This one was just sitting on top of a log and we stopped and it just dropped into that log and it just kept on poking its head out for about 20 minutes. It was really curious about us, he said. Mr. Jackman said it was the first time he had managed to film a numbat unfurling its tongue. I was very excited and very careful not to bump the tripod, he said. So here we've got him having a direct statement. The thrill of seeing a creature so rare was worth the 10-hour days of crawling along in the car, scanning logs. When you see one, it's like you're looking at something that shouldn't be alive. It should be extinct, he said. Well, look how beautiful and rare it is. There's another image, so we've got 3 images, and this is where online's different as well because they can put way more detail and videos and images in there. If you get sick of it, you just click back and go to a different page. Conservationist estimates that while there were only about 1,000 of the animals left in the wild, there were promising signs that efforts to save it were working. They said distinctive and shareable pictures of numbats could help bolster public awareness, and bolster means improve. Self-described citizen scientist Sean Van Alphen helps run the Boyinging Numbat Sensor Camera Survey and said he had seen an increase in public interest. It's become quite a popular thing for people to do, and he means take photographs, right? They had to put that in so you understand. And with photography, you do get a lot research notes out of that, he said. There's a lot more awareness now because of social media. And there's another picture, and we can see how long its tail is. Mr. Jackman said numbats' natures were in keeping with current messages to stay at home during the coronavirus pandemic. Now, I just want to point out a grammar thing as well, which is if it was a numbat's nature, meaning one numbat, we would do an apostrophe S, because that is that one numbat's nature. But because they're talking about the whole species of numbats, and it's the numbat's nature, meaning plural, we put the apostrophe on the outside of the S. Okay, so when we are talking about the nature of all the numbats, when we just say numbats live here, we don't use an apostrophe because that just means it's plural. Numbats stay in their own territory and they only go out to feed on termites, he said. They are very aware of where the logs are in the territories, so if there is any sign of danger, they'll just run to one of those logs and hole up there until they know it's safe. Now, also, this one web page went on to show that you can share the article if you really like it on Facebook or Twitter, or you can forward it on and send it to someone if you want to. It's got some more share options there. They show all the places. That there's more on Australia, there's more on Perth, there's more on the place Yallingup, or these places that are nearby. And then down the bottom they give us more options to click on other stories and just to show us just in. So online news, well, it's a lot more information and detail there. It provides for you if you are really interested in the story and want to keep clicking and want to keep looking. And because we have such short attention spans now, as we're reading and we get bored, we can click over on the side. But what I would like you to do now is go through, put your heading. Is that little video there part of the heading? Is this one here, is that just the lead or summary paragraph? And then all this is detail. Are all these images part of the body of the news report? And where is the tail? Which bit of this, is it all these three or just the last paragraph is the tail? You can write those down. Please don't write the whole article if you're writing it because you're not printing it out. Just count the paragraphs, or maybe say the rest of it is the body, and then just give me the last little bit that is the tail. If you can print this article out and I'll send it to you, you can just draw all over it, take notes on it and photograph and send it to me. Well, I hope that helps, and we'll do a very similar activity to that tomorrow where we'll annotate and pull apart an actual news article and examine it. And let me know what you think. Did that help your understanding of news article reports, actually looking at one online today? Okay, I'll see you in the last lesson for maths.